Hello and welcome to InvestorToday.ca. InvestorToday.ca is brought to you in conjunction with RBL Communications. I'm your host, Dave Glover, and for the next few minutes we will be speaking with Graham Keevil. He is the Manager of Corporate Development for Tajiri Resources Corp. Tajiri Resources Corp is an exploration company focused on the exploration and development of precious metal assets in the Yukon and uranium and rare earth elements in Quebec, Canada. Tajiri Resources trades on the TSX under the symbol TAJ. Well, and I want to thank Graham Keevil for joining us today. Graham, welcome to the show. Welcome to InvestorToday.ca.
Thank you very much, Dave. It's a pleasure to be here. Glad as always, to have the opportunity to let people know a little bit more about Tajiri Resources.
Well, and we're very glad that you could take some time out of your busy day. I guess we're going to start it off by talking about you. Now, you are the Manager of Corporate Development for Tajiri Resources Corp. But you've sort of been in mining your whole life, haven't you?
That's correct, Dave. And from a family point of view, I come from a long line of mining professionals. Since I was old enough to walk, basically, I've spent a lot of time around the business from both a technical side and corporate side. Previously to my position with Tajiri, I was VP Business Development with a company called Selkirk Metals. That was actually acquired by Imperial Metals in 2009.
Right. So you've been with Tajiri then pretty much since its birth, I guess.
Since the outset, yep. We did our qualifying transaction in June 2011, and shortly thereafter I became involved with the company to headman and develop the investor side of things.
So you've been very busy, obviously. Now, one of the key points of acquisition for you guys was picking up the Inca property, which is located in the eastern part of the Yukon. Can we talk a little bit about the Inca property?
Well, the Inca is a past-producing high-grade silver project that we feel we were fairly lucky to actually acquire at the time that we did. It sits 180 kilometers east of the Keno Hill camp. And people will recognize that name because it is the second largest past-producing silver camp in Canada, having produced over 200 million ounces from 1913 until shut down in the mid-1980s. The key to that statement is that we feel the geological analogies between the Keno Hill camp and the Inca property, which we are now earning 100% in, are numerous and well documented. And from what we've seen to date and the past production that was actually taking place on Inca, we feel that there's good potential for a similar style deposit to be developed at the site.
Wow. Well, can we talk a little bit about your most recent assay results?
Sure, Dave. In August, exactly the day we got exchange approval for the acquisition of Inca, we started our Phase 1 work. Mm-hmm. It consisted of extensive mapping, sampling, geochemistry work, basically to get an idea of the structural controls associated with the high-grade silver, lead, zinc mineralization found on the project. So we were in there and actually collected 66 hard rock samples of 210 soils, and as of last week, January the 11th, we had the assays come back and release them in news. Now, 48 of the 66 samples came back highly mineralized with extreme high grades of silver. The range is up to 8,593 grams per ton, which is well over 300 ounces, and really speaks to the the general grades that we've encountered there to date.
Mm-hmm. So, can you let the listeners know a little bit about where the project's going to be going from here? I mean, obviously you've done some incredible groundwork for this, and the assay results will bear that out. But as you said, this was a past-producing mine. Is there any intention on the part of Tajiri to bring it back into production?
Well, I think, of course, we always have the end game in mind to, move these things forward into a development situation and lead that into production. What we want to do in the immediate future is get in there as quickly and as early as we can, weather permitting this summer, do a little bit more groundwork to include trenching, mapping, and really get a good sense of where these veins that were producing the material historically are headed subsurface. So really the situation with the production back in 79 to 83 when it was actually producing silver, was high-grade surface showings that basically were exploited by just shallow surface cuts and small pits. They stockpiled that ore material and shipped it only once a year to the Trail smelter in southern BC. From only 1,300 tons of ore material, they produced almost 200,000 ounces of silver. And as I mentioned earlier, what we want to do is go in there and try to extend on some of these surface showings and be able to build some tonnage to move it into a development situation.
So the previous owners were literally pulling it out of the ground, throwing it into the bag, and sending it right to the smelter.
That's it, Dave. And, it really, to us, seems to be a no-brainer as far as how to move it forward, right?
Wow, exactly. So now that's obviously very positive information and very positive, especially for anyone who knows the history of the Inca property, which was at one point part of the Inca Plata project, which was Silver Predator, I guess.
That's correct, Dave, and I'm glad you brought that up because as of today, them being historically one asset, Silver Predator actually had been conducting a $2.5 million drill program this past summer. Their results having come out about 10 o'clock this morning with nothing less than exceptional grades as we have expected to see in the area. Highlights from their drilling now is 20 meters of 86 grams per ton silver. Within that, there's a 2.3 meter section of 453 grams per ton. And they're also talking in their release about potential for bulk tonnage areas associated with siderite silver lenses, which basically are alteration zones between the vein systems. So we feel, and the geologists that we've had up there to date have really suggested that this is one system, and what they have is, there's a good chance we will see on our project. However, our most recent geo, Colin Russell, who will be most likely conducting a lot of the work this coming summer, has suggested he feels the grades actually improve to the southeast and trend towards our side of the project, which is positive, of course.
So really, this is still a contiguous vein then, isn't it, that runs through both sides?
Well, in the sense that it is all part of the same system and was most likely formed at the same time. Wow.
Now, you've also picked up an option, I understand, on a property down in Guyana as well. Can we talk a little bit about the Kaburi project?
Absolutely, and this is one that I really do like, Dave, because I feel that Guyana, is probably one of the most up-and-coming gold districts, not just in the Western Hemisphere, but throughout the world. What you get there is a lot of the positives that we've seen in places like Venezuela, with none of the political risk. It hosts large tonnage, good grade greenstone style deposits. And has been inferred to be part of historically the Guyana Shield, which is part of the African Craton, and on the African side of the border or ocean, has some of the largest gold deposits, worldwide.
Well, I guess the African side would be the DRC, wouldn't it? Democratic Republic of Congo sort of connects right in there if you look at it from a
the west coast of Africa, Guyana, and so.
So that's incredible news as well. So is there any projection as to what work is going to be conducted down there in the short term?
Well, what we're doing right now, we have a geo down commencing a 43-101 report, which we should have back within the next 15 to 20 days. Once we have time to review that and go over the suggestions made by the geologists, we'll plan our program accordingly. I would anticipate it will include some line cutting, early stage sampling, and obviously inspecting of the 12 artisanal pits that already exist on the project. Additionally to that, there's actually a company out of Australia that's been working on properties surrounding Kaburi for the past 6 months. I believe they're up to about 15 drill holes now and have really not missed on any of those. Most of the grades, you're getting single-digit grams over double-digit meters. And it really gives us some confidence getting in there and hoping to move it to drilling as quickly as possible.
Wow. So you guys have really got your hands full in the next few months trying to I guess, forecast what you're going to do for 2012 up in the Yukon, but you've also got to focus on this Guyana project as well.
Yeah, and I think, the positive to that is we've stepped into two projects that are positioned to be moved forward really quickly. I would put it, having been surrounded by two companies that are fairly well established at both of these sites, putting out results that are within systems that we think extend onto both of our projects, really gives us sort of a blueprint as to how to move either of them forward, both Inca and Kaburi, respectively.
Right. So now I have to ask you, how has the market been for Tajiri so far?
Getting better. The end of 2011, obviously, with the European situation, didn't do any companies any favors, but we were able to raise just over $1 million in November, which suits our budget perfectly for the time being. Mm-hmm. And that was done, within a week with a very small group of strong brokers in Vancouver here, and gives us the finances to be able to get to work and hopefully get the results that the market will appreciate.
Well, again, I'm talking to Graham Keevil. He is the Manager of Corporate Development for Tajiri Resources Corp. Tajiri Resources Corp trades on the TSX under the symbol TAJ. You guys are based out of Vancouver. I'm going to give you the last word, Graham. Any forecast for 2012?
Well, I think it's going to be a good year for the juniors that are putting out good numbers. So keep an eye on us, and we'll be drilling hopefully up in the Yukon this coming summer.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for spending some of your valuable time here with us at InvestorToday.ca. And I want to thank the viewers and listeners for tuning in to InvestorToday.ca. Obviously, any more information we can get, we will update you as soon as possible. And Graham, any time that you've got news you want to get out there, we'd be happy to sit down with you and let the listeners in on it.
Sounds good, Dave, and thanks for the opportunity to speak a little bit about Tajiri today.
Well, thank you very much.